She went from newsrooms to chasing storms. Our former morning reporter and friend Allie Reed has landed her dream job with the AccuWeather channel.
Now, she just got back from her first assignment covering Hurricane Debbie. We caught up with Allie recently to hear how it went. Take a look. Well, Allie, our girl, good morning.
Good morning, Allie.
Hi. How are you guys? I miss you so much.
We miss you too. You look great. Congratulations on your dream job. We heard you. You would always talk about the AccuWeather channel. Now it's official. You're working there. Tell us how it all came to be.
Well, you know, I feel like it's been a crazy journey getting here, but this is a job that I had applied for a number of years ago, about a year and a half ago, and I really just fell in love with the job in and of itself. The thing that was really important to me is that I stayed with my Pennsylvania, New Jersey roots. I didn't want to go very far. As you know, I fell in love in Allentown with now my husband, Tim, and so we didn't have the flexibility to go very far, but the thing that I love about AccuWeather is the fact that they're actually based in State College, Pennsylvania. So right up the road, not super far by any means from WFMZ. And so I appreciated that they were a company based in Pennsylvania. And by the way, they employ meteorologists all over the country, but mainly they sit in State College and in Wichita, Kansas. But I just loved their idea of what their company is like. And not for nothing, but the job in and of itself is incredible. My life has turned from traveling across Pennsylvania to now traveling across the United States, and there's something really exciting about that. So now, not only am I telling news in the Pennsylvania area, but now all over the United States, which truly is incredible.
That is incredible. Well, so much has happened for you since you left Allentown. You got married, as you mentioned. You got this job, and shortly after the job, Hurricane Debbie hit. So how much warning did you get before you were sent out?
Well, Haas, let me tell you, not much. Okay, so basically I got back from my honeymoon and it was hitting the ground running, which was a little insane. And I actually got the call the day that I was supposed to be moving into our home, which is where I am now. So this is kind of
congrats on that too.
For the moment. Yeah. But I had to skip out on my moving day, which I don't know if Tim was necessarily so happy about that one. But we had some friends and family that helped us out, thankfully. But I got the call, and the first place I needed to head to was Tampa, Florida. And if you remember, Tampa is where my parents live. So while there was obviously a lot of devastation that went into Hurricane Debbie, once it actually made landfall, which was actually a number of hours north of where my parents live, thankfully, you know, there was a lot that went into it. But with all that being said, it was really, really nice to be able to go down during a crazy time, see my family to kick things off before we actually got into the coverage.
And our conversation with Allie didn't end there. We had a lot to talk about.
And we'll continue to hear all about Allie's first assignment covering Debbie in our next half hour, plus more on her wedding. Well, we recently caught up with our former morning reporter and friend, Allie Reed. In part one of our interview, we talked about what it was like for Allie to land her dream job with the AccuWeather channel.
Well, she just got back from her first assignment. Here's part two of our interview where she tells us what it was like covering Hurricane Debbie. Take a look. I'm so curious, Allie, so they're telling everyone to leave, you know, get away from the hurricane, but they're telling you, it's go time, girl, get to the hurricane. I mean, you're going toward the storm. How do you even get there? Where do you stay? What's it like to not leave when a storm is going on like that and to cover something like that?
Oh, well, it's crazy. I mean, there's no other way to say it. And, you know, you also have to stay as safe as possible. That's the number one priority. And the thing that I love about this company is that they're putting myself first. So if there's something that I'm not comfortable with, they're saying, okay, Allie, get out, talk to your team in the field to try and figure out what's best for you guys. So I really appreciate that a ton. But getting down to Tampa, the number one goal was to really just get boots on the ground and figure out a plan, because there's there truly is no plan when you're talking about breaking news. As you guys know, it's a developing situation, and so you really just have to kind of figure it out as you go. So we got down there and we realized pretty quickly that Tampa, St. Pete, while they were going to get some heavy wind, some strong rain, they weren't going to be nearly as impacted as people north of that area were going to be. So we kind of moved into the armpit of Florida. We took the drive. My photographer, Andy, and I, we got in the car. He actually drove down. I flew. So there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to our team itself also. So we get ourselves to Cedar Key, which is in the vicinity of where we knew that Hurricane Debbie was going to make landfall. And so we figured that that would be a good spot to at least be placed, so that way we can do movement from there. Once we actually got there, there's not, the area itself, if you're familiar with Cedar Key, it's very small and there are not many hotels. So we had to turn to Airbnb to actually stay overnight. And that was very scary, staying in someone's home and also not being able to sleep at night. You have all this adrenaline running, and then you hear the storm happening quite literally all around you. And let me tell you, it's very terrifying to try and sleep the night before you know that a hurricane is quite literally coming in your path. The next morning was really just preparing for it to make landfall. My first live hit was at 6 o'clock that morning, and Debbie made landfall shortly after 7 o'clock. So from there on out, it was a lot of just moving, let's get the ball rolling, and we followed the storm. So we went from Cedar Key to Savannah, Georgia. And by the way, Eve, I know you'll be happy about this one. We saw Ginger.
I was just going to ask you. It was so exciting.
Yes.
We know you love Ginger.
Wanted to ask you about that, Allie. Did she give you any kind of tip? I mean, you know how to report, but is there something that she told you that gave you a little extra boost when you were out covering this crazy storm?
Well, you know, typically whenever you see Ginger or any of us out in the field, it's not a good thing, right? You don't want to see us at the location that we are at. But the great thing was, a few weeks prior, I had actually stopped, got to do a trip with and see her over at Good Morning America. She's been a mentor of mine for the last couple of years. Eve, Karen, and I, we even did an interview with her. If you remember back about a year and a half ago, we actually spoke to her when she joined us. But you know, out in the field, honestly, she didn't give me a ton of tips, and I think that's because she was like, "You got this. Like, just do it." And you know, at that point, I'm now a colleague. I'm someone that's working hand in hand, neck and neck with her out in the field. So while she certainly is still a mentor of mine, and I'm not touching Ginger Z by any means, but you know, it was wonderful to be out in the field with her, and just a full circle moment. You know, someone that's been giving me tips and advice for so long. I mean, how cool is that, right?
Well, so cool. We are so proud of you. New job, new house, your marriage, and thanks so much for taking the time. Are you ready for the next storm, or do you need a little minute?
Oh, you know what? Well, we were eyeing Ernesto. Luckily, it seems as if it's not going to hit the U.S. or at least impact it in many ways. But I'm prepared.
Okay,
I'm moved in, guys, and I'm ready. Let's go.
Real quick, has anyone come up to you and said, "Allie, I see you on the AccuWeather channel. I know you"?
You know what? I don't think anyone's saying, "Wow, Allie Reed." Like, I don't think I'm a household name just yet. We'll get there eventually. But we have had plenty of people say we have the AccuWeather app downloaded. We love watching you guys, and I appreciate that so much. And again, many of my coworkers are from the Pennsylvania area, so we're not far, guys. We're still here.
All right. Come visit us, Allie. We love you. All the best, and congratulations.